Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to your favorite Heat pregame show, the B4 Floor Show. I am your temporary host as this coup d'etat kind of runs. Ethan is running late, but I promise you he will be here. I'm Ricky J. Mark, and with me is, of course, an elite panel of Five Reasons Sports contributors, insiders, you know it. First, there's the chairman himself, Ethan, who's not here. He's coming, don't worry. Our man, Mr. Greg Sylvander, who I'm proud to say is one of our insiders in this network. We've got our prodigy, Brady Hawk, who's currently writing, believe it or not, the 2022 French presidential election breakdown while I'm doing this intro. And, of course, you've got the bearded king himself, Mr. Jonathan Ramlakan, and Alejandro on the ones and twos. Good evening, gentlemen. How are you guys doing? Everybody good?
Let's get it.
All
Coffee
right.
loaded. Let's do it.
Perfect. But, of course, hold on. But before we do anything, we've got to pay some bills because apparently we live in a capitalist society and money is what you need to survive. So, this episode of Before Floor is brought to you by drumroll, please. Okay, we'll do that in post-production. Yeah, we'll do that in post-production. It's fine. First things first. Yes, perfect. Thank you. Insurance by Lynette. Okay, so basically the main question I've got for everyone here is, do you need help with insurance? It's a crazy world out there, so I'm guessing you do. Do you need someone that's got your back, then please consider Insurance by Lynette. Even if you've got a shaky driving record, which of course in South Florida is more common than not, Lynette will fight for you and she will do so aggressively. So she'll make sure you're sorted out, along with free notary services and much more. So if you'd like to have someone that's got your back, especially these days, give Insurance by Lynette a call at 954-581-8800. And when you do, let her know that the team at Five Reasons Sports sent you. Again, that number is 954-581-8800. You'll probably find her in the comment section, and you'll see her in the comments. You'll see her following us, and we love to have people like that joining and supporting our movement, of course. Next up is Biscayne Bay. Now, local businesses matter in these times, and Biscayne Bay is a brewery that aims to make your taste buds feel right at home. So they've got a variety of different brews that may very well cater to your needs, such as a certain Ethan J. Skolnick appearing on my screen right now. Someday soon, we will all be partying without worrying about COVID. I don't know about you, but I got my 2 shots, Pfizer. I'm good to go. In a couple of days, I'll be fully vaccinated. But that said, I am keeping my mask on my face. That's important. That's a whole nother subject altogether, but whatever. And for those of you smart and responsible enough to wait until the parties, until COVID is safely away from us before partying, why not crack open a cold one? Biscayne Bay. It's made in Miami, and we support local businesses as they support the Five Reasons Sports Network. Now, last but not least, of course, we have Prize Picks, if I'm not mistaken. I don't really know anything about them. Greg and Alejandro do, and especially Ethan does, so I'll let them handle that. I really will. Gentlemen, that's y'all. That's y'all. I don't
Go
know
ahead,
anything
Ethan.
about Prize
Welcome
Picks.
to your pregame show.
That's the longest intro of all time. Thank you for stalling. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
By the way,
Yeah.
I just had the second Pfizer shot today, which is why I'm swinging this, because I don't know. I feel like all the life has left my body today. So hopefully I don't die during this program. Ricky, thank you for doing it. We appreciate it. Thanks again to our sponsors. Let's get going here. First, I recommend you go to fivereasonsports.com, read Marco Romo's story today. Marco, of course, is in our network. He did a very good piece on Spoelstra and sort of trusting the defensive strategy. Also, Brady did a piece as well on the Heat and the Suns, previewing it. So check out those 2 things. And our podcast that we did last night with Scott Agnes covers the Pacers, getting into the origin of the Oladipo situation. But we're not going to get into a lot of Oladipo today. This is a big game. It's a really good team that the Heat are playing. And Phoenix has an opening now, too, because Denver just lost its star guard for the season, Jamal Murray, a team that the Heat are going to see tomorrow night, which Denver may be in a little bit of turmoil. Who knows, by tomorrow. So the question is, do you put all of your eggs into the tonight basket? Okay, it looks like everybody's playing. So is this the one that you try to go get? We know second night of back-to-backs can be difficult. Greg?
I'm going to say yes, even though I think you could make the argument. The second game's in Denver, right? Is that where we go next?
Yes. It's always in Denver.
So that's an awful game, and I feel like even with no Jamal Murray, everyone just walks into that stadium and goes, "Ugh, like let's get this over with." So I'm going for tonight's game. They generally play very competitively in Phoenix. The thing that I'm going to be watching for is pace, and I think that it's going to be super interesting to see who dictates what. Phoenix has scored about 5 points more per game after the All-Star break. So they're firing on all cylinders, but they don't play fast. So this may be one of those weird games where not only do you go all out to get the victory, but you do it in a fashion where you're playing a little faster than usual also.
Brady, let's talk about that offense for Phoenix. 81 points in the game last night. So they got to rest some people in the second half. Jay Crowder, after 8 threes in the first, said he was saving some for tonight. I don't know what kind of monster the Heat have created here, but you do talk about pace. Jimmy likes to dictate pace. Chris Paul likes to dictate pace. I feel like in a little ways it's like quarterback against quarterback tonight. How do the Heat force Chris Paul out of his game?
Yeah, I think you both hit on it. That's the key to their offense is dictating pace. The last time they played Phoenix, Chris Paul got that all the way over Jimmy. Jimmy had waited till the third quarter to kind of get going. The pace was already there. They had it in their side of things. So I think the key there is to basically force turnovers as they've been doing, try to create transition offense. And that was what Phoenix did last game, surprisingly. And they were forcing a lot of opportunities into transition. That has a lot to do with them at that time. You know, Miami struggled with turnovers at the time, and now they've kind of cleaned that up a bit. But I do think the key tonight is going to be defensively. I think it's going to be down to matchups. As much as we look at scheme always and look at, them blitzing a guy like Damian Lillard or Curry, you can't do that against a team like Phoenix when they have so many weapons and they have a guy that's going to make the right decision every time with a guy like Devin Booker on the wing. So I do think the thing they have to change is matchups. And I mentioned before, I think Trevor Ariza may get the start on Devin Booker right away. He had, mismatches all night the last time on Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson. So that ultimately means that probably Jimmy Butler is going to slide down to Jay Crowder. And then they live with the matchups of Nunn on Chris Paul and Duncan Robinson on Bridges, which Nunn actually did a pretty good job guarding Chris Paul. That was one of his games where he had a really good defensive game, that one in the Warriors game. So if he could kind of show that again, I think that'd be pretty big for them tonight.
Jonathan, Kendrick Nunn the other night gave him a pretty sort of down-the-middle game. It wasn't like an elite Kendrick Nunn game, but it wasn't one of those high-rise Kendrick Nunn games. I feel like to a certain degree that's enough, right?
Yeah, absolutely, because we know what we expect from Nunn, and I feel like that's just being that other scorer that we can rely on, right? So I feel like if he can bring that to you, kind of do what he's been doing all year, which is improving as a playmaker, right? Getting the passes to Bam, he fits really well with that starting unit, and he's become a better defender too. And with a team that the Suns that pass so well, playing the passing lanes is going to be huge for this game. So we're going to have to shut down those passes and get in three. So I think Nunn is going to be key for us to make sure that we score more than them, because offensively, they're one of the most lethal teams in the league. So if we have one of those scoring droughts, it's going to be hard for us to win this game.
Ricky, Phoenix, they're interesting in this sense because every year we talk about how tough the West is, and yet there's always one team that kind of shoots out of nowhere into the mix, right? Like, we always say it's so tough to climb in the West, right? You got to get over this team and this team. We've been saying this for 20 years, but there's always one that makes that jump. You look at years ago, Oklahoma City losing to the Lakers in the playoffs, and then but you knew they were coming, right? Last year, I felt like in the bubble, you knew something was happening there, and then the Chris Paul addition. Can they make a serious run for the West at this stage? I mean, with what's happening with the Lakers, the Clippers are inconsistent. We do see what happened with Denver,
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, I think it depends on a couple of things. Whether or not the young guys, DeAndre Ayton, Devin Booker, are ready to play on the big stage. They are unproven. They went undefeated in the bubble, which was admirable, but they still missed the playoffs at the end of the day because of the fact that they didn't play well enough in the first half of the season to do so. You have that. And then ultimately, you have Chris Paul's health. One of the reasons why Chris Paul doesn't have a championship right now is not because he wasn't good enough, is because he's had a long history of bad luck, where he would come up lame at the worst possible time during the Clippers runs in 2014, 15, 16, and then he's unable to play. The same thing happened when he was on the Rockets. He comes up lame, I think, in Game 5 or 6. He's unable to play in Game 7. They lose. The Warriors go on, and I think they ended up winning the title that year. So I think the Suns are one of those dark horse teams, and if they could put it together, if Devin Booker is truly ready to make that next step, if DeAndre Ayton is truly ready to take that next step, then I think Jay Crowder might see himself in the NBA Finals again for the second time in a row.
Oh my God! Oh God! Can you imagine?
Weird, right?
Could you imagine if that happens? This gets mentioned here, so I want to bring him up. We talked about him a lot lately, but Goran Dragic is back to a certain degree home tonight. He's had very good games in Phoenix since he's left, but really, other than that fourth quarter against Chicago, there hasn't been a hell of a lot the last 3 weeks. He wants to play through it, Greg. I don't know. I mean, don't we need to see more soon?
You do, but it's a situation where I just don't know how much you can rely on it right now. And I feel like it makes Kendrick Nunn's role that much more important. And you need Tyler Hero to continue to play well. Because when you just look over the last, month or so for Goran Dragic, it has been like he, in the month of March, averaged 10 points a game and 4 rebounds, 4 assists. So, I mean, the other stuff was there. It's just, to me, there's a lack of burst. There's a lack of like that Goran that can go get you 20, and you can just kind of know that every 3 or 4 games you're getting 20 from him. We need to get back to that. And it's going to be a balance between preserving him for the playoffs, but also you got to see it from him.
Yeah, Lynette checking in there. We need a good Goran game. Again, insurancebylynette.com. Reaching out to you on something this week, by the way. Brady. Just sorry, I'm conducting business here on the air. Brady, Dragic, Hero. The numbers together are not great. They just aren't. And so if you're not putting either of them in the starting lineup, if you're going to leave none there, unless maybe we're waiting, if Oladipo doesn't come back for the playoffs, you're waiting to put Dragic back in there or Hero back in there, maybe for none. How do you make that thing work, the two of them?
I think the numbers are not great just because of the Goran side of things that he's struggled a lot lately. Tyler seems to fit in really well next to Goran. Even, looking last time they played the Suns, the reason why they struggled was because they had Gabe Vincent running their secondary sets, and, that's never a good thing. And when Goran plugs back in, Tyler goes back into an off-ball role where he's just the scoring guy, and he fits in really well. So I do think right when Goran, we saw it in the bubble when he had some rest. Once he gets to that level, it's going to elevate that group, and maybe the numbers will go back up. But when you're on the topic of Goran, I do think tonight, I said it earlier, is the Goran game. I think this is kind of the game that we're looking at, not just because they're playing Phoenix, but it just seems like a game that last time they played the Suns, that was the missing piece to their offense when, they didn't have that extra push off the bench where it was Gabe Vincent. And I think Goran can take advantage of those young guards off the bench and can be the guy tonight.
Jonathan, Duncan Robinson has been, again, the best shooter on the planet ever since the trade deadline. He seems to be freeing himself more often. He seems to be shooting from deeper at times as well. Like that's one of the adjustments that's been made here. Do you expect regression again?
This is one of those games where you could see a little bit of regression, right? Because Phoenix is a really good 3-point defending team. So I feel like, keeping that length on them, having Chris Paul captain that defense, you have a lot of guys. Maybe if, Devin Booker's on them, he can have run them off. But, they have Cameron Johnson, a couple of other guys in there that can guard as well. So I feel like Duncan could have a regression game this game because they're just so good defensively, right? So I want to see him maybe do other things other than shooting the 3-pointer, like taking him off the dribble, making that little extra pass when Bam slips into the middle of the roll. So I feel like there's other things that Duncan can do outside of just the 3 to impact the game. Maybe we see a little bit less threes and we see a little bit more out of the bag this game. That's something we want to see anyway. So I think that's what we can get out of Duncan tonight.
The cool thing is
ahead,
even
Greg.
if he regresses tonight, in April, for the 5 games in April, on 10 attempts, he's shooting 50% from 3. So let him regress, and he'll shoot 40%.
Yeah, well, they need him, though. All right, let's go around the horn here real quick. We always start with you, Ricky. This is always where we want to begin. Can they steal one tonight?
All hail the point guard. That's all I'm saying.
That's a no.
All right, Greg. We've hailed the point guard. I know who that is. So Kendrick Nunn leads them to victory. Now I know where you're going with that. All right, go ahead, Greg.
Oh, you guys know where I'm at here. I'm not staying up till 1:00 to do a podcast later this.
Wait, you should have ended that as I'm not staying up till 1:00.
So the Heat are getting this one. Have the guts, y'all. Have the guts, because they're not getting the Denver one, so they're getting this one.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we'll see who the Denver guard is. It might be Austin.
Remember, Hero took on Booker and played him really well. He
Yes, he
asked
did.
to guard him. He told Jimmy, no, I want to guard Devin Booker. Maybe we'll see some of that.
Jonathan?
Yeah, I'm taking the Heat. I think Coach Spo probably has a good defensive plan cooking up to help stop Chris Paul. And I feel like we'll be able to do enough offensively and get some drives to the basket and get some good looks.
Brady?
Yeah, I think the Heat win as well. I think it's to that point he just mentioned, the defense, that they can, change some matchups from the last game. I think it's a Goran game. And one thing I want to mention to the Duncan Robinson thing, the reason it could be really important tonight, the deep threes, is that he's basically evolved from dribble handoffs into high pick and rolls with Bam. And that opens up Bam's game a lot. So what we're seeing now is if they stick Bridges on him tonight, that opens up a lot of things for their offense. So I think that could really change some things tonight.
Ellie, I'm doing this so that I can give it away to someone else. So hopefully I wash my hair before this. I'll give my pick last this time. Alejandro, you go.
I think they'll win tonight. They're winning.
All right. I don't think they're winning tonight. I'd like to be that optimistic. I actually think we're getting a Jimmy game tonight, but I would definitely – Greg, I saw you play that. That prize picks number 20.5 on points for him tonight. He's going over tonight, isn't he?
Yeah, I took the over.
I mean, I don't. He's been at 24.5, 25.5 on prize picks lately. I saw that number.
Adversely, I took Ayton over on rebounds because he had 15 and 15 the last time they played the Heat. So I'm expecting more than 10 rebounds.
I'm gonna play. No, Royal did not give you guys use that. Maybe at a watch. Maybe at a watch party. By the way, Ricky, off air. Let me know when you're gonna be down here tomorrow. All right, that's all we got, right? I don't like them tonight. I think they lose by 7, but we'll see. I actually think, stunningly enough, they could win tomorrow night. I do. I think Denver's going to take some time to adjust without Jamal Murray. I just think that when a team is a championship contender and a player goes down like that, they don't come back right away. There's an adjustment period. Like, that's not a team that thought they were going to be the 6th seed or the 7th seed. That's a team that thought they could win a title and now knows they can't. Okay?
It's true.
I think tomorrow's going to be a little bit of a struggle for them.
Does Jay Crowder go crazy on us tonight? Let's sneak this question in, guys.
2 for 7 from
Probably.
3. 2 for 7.
Nah.
6 for 10.
2 for 7. Who has more threes tonight, Ariza or Crowder?
Crowder.
Ariza. Let's do it.
All right, guys. If we all stay up, that second dose, man, that hits you. If we all stay up tonight, we'll be on the post-game pod. If Alex stays up as well. Post-game stream today.
Hey, Coach, we'll get started with Ira.
Royals off. Somebody's filling it. Ira's taking over. Have a good night.
Coach, the team just announced that Casey's available for tonight. The kid's been through a lot this year, and he's missed a lot of time. One, what's it like just to have him around the team since the start of this trip, and what are you sort of hoping to accomplish with him or have him accomplish the rest of the season?
Yeah, well, it's just good to have him back in the mix. He's really missed being around the team, and he was basically because of a lot of the circumstances within the rotation. When he went out, there's been some changes since then, but he was able to go through a couple practices, a real good workout yesterday. So we'll get him back in shape and around the guys and getting comfortable again, and it's good to move forward with him.
Any particular approach with the roster tonight on the first night of a back-to-back with a veteran team? Anyone being held out or anything like that?
No.
Good to go. Good. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, next we'll go to Jason Jackson.
Coach, the other night, Sunday specifically, you guys had the pile of deflections, season high in steals. Well, from an importance standpoint, is it about the disruption, or is it about trying to really get that possession and turn it into something on the other end, or just kind of one falling into the next?
Yeah, it's about all of that. That's part of our identity, to be active, to make multiple efforts, to be as disruptive as we possibly can. And sometimes that's going to lead to a bunch of deflections and steals. And sometimes it'll lead to having a game in the mud. Either way, you want to have an identity and something you can lean on, that you have weeks of habits, built on. And then, particularly on the road, you're going to have to be able to defend against, teams like we're facing tonight that are a really good home team, but also a really good offensive team.
Thank you.
All right, Coach, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
All right, that was Eric Spoelstra earlier today. Let's go now and listen to Goran Dragic, also from earlier today from Shootaround. He's going to be talking, of course, about this game and coming back to Phoenix, his former house. So let's go ahead and listen to Goran Dragic. This was earlier today before tonight's game against the Phoenix Suns.
Hey, Goran, how are you?
Good.
I feel like we probably asked you this question before, but just how much of a challenge has this season been for you to get to where you want to go rhythm-wise, just with the the on-off nature of it for you with the various injuries and different issues you've dealt with that have kept you out for a few games here and there?
Yeah, it's been challenging, but still continue to fight and try to get better. And as long as we're winning, I'm fine.
And then I know you were held out of the last back-to-back in the second night. Do you expect that? I mean, have you had a conversation with Spo about how they want to handle that moving forward? I know you guys have a back-to-back tomorrow. Have a one-time situation because you were just coming back from the back injury.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We still need to discuss that. So I don't know. I'm going to be available if he needs me, but I don't know yet about that.
Okay. And then I want to ask one last thing. You and Jimmy obviously have a great off-court chemistry and on-court chemistry as well. You guys have been really good on the court together this season. That pick and roll with him, what challenges do you think that presents defenses, and why do you think it's been so effective, especially late in games this season?
Like you said, the connection. I know what he's going to do, and he's great at setting screens and slipping, and I'm not afraid to hit him. He's one of those guys you can throw the ball up in the air, and he's gonna go and get it. And that's why we just talk. I think it's communication. That's the biggest reason why we're on the same page and why we play like that.
Thanks, Goran.
Thank
you. Next, we'll go to Ira Winterman.
Goran, a simple outside people who aren't in the game sometimes look at a team and say they want to establish continuity in rotations, so guys want to get familiar with the starting unit and with the second unit. And obviously, Coach brings Kendrick in with the starters, so you get to stay with Tyler and Andre and the guys in the second unit. But then last season, the playoffs started, boom, you were a starter, and it worked really, really well. Is continuity overstated between the units that the 5 starters have to know each other and the 4 reserves have to know each other? What's the real truth from someone inside the game?
The real truth is you have to stay ready. You never know when your name's going to be called or if you're going to start or you're going to come from the bench. Everybody's here to do their jobs. And, it's been it's almost close to the end of the season. So we already know what each player brings and what's their strengths or what their weaknesses and how we need to play together. So it doesn't matter if you start or sometimes you're coming from the bench. I think so. That's just the way it is. You just need to be ready.
Obviously, because of the uncertainty with Vic, if you were called on to start in the playoffs like last year, would it be as easy as stepping in last year? And is that something you're maybe thinking about just because, boom, playoffs started and there you were?
I'm not thinking about it, if I'm honest, but like I said, whatever coach needs, I'm here. So if he needs me to start, if he needs me to come from the bench, whatever they need, I'm going to do for the team. As long as we're winning, like I said, the most important thing is try to win as much as possible and get to the playoffs. And from there on, we'll see what's gonna happen.
And then one last thing from me, because it might have to happen with Vic or not. We don't know, and I understand that. I remember when you first were asked to wear the brace, it was a real dramatic change for you to get used to it, and then you sort of fell in love with it, and now it's like your best friend.
Not really, though. But
What's it like if you're asked to wear a brace? Just tell me sort of how long does it take to get used to that bulky contraption? Thank you.
You know what? When I put a brace on, I think so. If you start thinking too much, I have a brace on, then you're gonna slowly adapt to it. Really slow. But if you just go out there and you just think about basketball and hooping, and I think so you can get it. You can get it pretty quickly that you don't notice that you have something on. And for me, that's the case right now. I feel weird if I don't wear it right now, and you just have to deal with it. And start thinking about different stuff.
Next, we go to Jason Jackson.
Hey, Goran, question about the numbers you guys put up defensively the other night. On Sunday, you had a season-high dozen steals, a boatload of deflections. Not every steal turns into a bucket on the other end. Not every deflection turns into a new possession. But is there a philosophy now or just overall for the defense of just be disruptive? What comes from it is going to be positive over a period of time.
Yeah, it definitely helps. We if you look by statistics and all the games when we are disruptive, it's so much easier to play. We get on the open court, we score some easy baskets, and like you said, you're not gonna always score, but at least the defense is there. Everybody's talking, and it's much easier to play like that.
That's all I got, bud. Thank you.
All right, next we go to Brendan Tobin.
Goran, how have you liked how the team has handled, I guess, all the adversity you guys have gone through this year between the changes of coronavirus, you had the trade deadline, had Vic's now out, and you guys, start off the road trip, really well. Like it really didn't even seem to phase you guys very much. Is it because you guys have been dealing with so much that you think you've gotten used to all the changes that have happened?
Yeah, definitely. We have so many people in and out, and like these protocols and Corona, and change of time practices, change of schedule, and everything. You just get used to it. Nothing surprised me anymore. So you just need to be focused on one goal, and this is to do our job. It doesn't matter how hard it is, and it's tough to see players in and out with injuries or with protocols and everything, but it's part of the business right now at these times.
Next we'll go to Donovan Campbell.
Hey, what's going on, Goran? How you doing?
Good.
Awesome. Just talk about, I know it's part of the game, but just playing back to back and then, playing two tough games in Phoenix and at Denver as well.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, but, we like challenges. So of course, we need to take care of business tonight first, and then try to go as fast as possible to, on the bird to Denver and try to get as much as possible rest. And it's not going to be easy, but we like those challenges. We know that the odds are going to be against us, but, in the past, we already proven that we can win those games, and we're going to try to win.
We'll go next to Anthony Chang again.
Hey, Goran, sorry, I had one more. You guys are facing Jay tonight, who obviously played really well in that forward role for you guys last season. What have you liked about the way what Trevor has brought to that spot this year since his acquisition?
A lot. Trevor is a great defender. He can basically switch from 1 to 4, even sometimes with the 5, especially now the 5s, are not playing low post so much. And his ability to recognize the defensive schemes, and he's great with his hands, creates a lot of deflections, and from there, he can make a 3 in offense, give us that extra spacing that we need, and he's been tremendous for us. He's still adapting, so I'm still expecting him to get better, and definitely each day it's progressing.
Thank you.
All right, next we'll go to Cooper Moorhead.
Hey, Goran, even taking into account the inconsistency of this entire year and all the things going on, if you look at the profile of this team as far as half-court offense, a lot seems to be pretty much the same from last year, even though we don't want to compare, different rosters. And sometimes there's been up, sometimes there's been down on offense. But do you guys feel like you have your finger on what the offense is and what you guys need to, work the next month on improving?
Definitely the offense feels different this year than last year, but we're working on it. We need to share the ball more. I think so. Some games we're too staggered. We don't move a lot, and it's kind of plays in the opponent's strength. But we just need to. Last week games was much better. I still think we can score 120 each game, and maybe play with a little bit higher pace. But we're getting there. The good thing is, our defense is been solid. It's top 5 in the league, so that's something that you can build on it, and the offense is going to come.
All right, that's it, Goran. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that was Goran Dragic earlier tonight or today, talking about the game against the Phoenix Suns and, of course, his progress with everything that's going on in his health. So let's go now and listen to the Phoenix coach. We're going to try to include that now going forward here in the pregame show. Listen to the team we're facing that night, the coach from the team that we're facing tonight. So let's go and listen to Monty Williams. I think it's the one that we have available.
Thanks for joining us. We'll go
Here
ahead
we
and
go.
get started here with the question from Dwayne Rankin with the Arizona Republic.
Coach, just want to first ask about Cam Johnson. Seeing him last night, not only putting the ball on the floor in half court, but in transition, creating plays for others and having in full court and half court. What do you feel like has led to this recent stretch of play? I get, the overall just over the course of the season, but this recent stretch, what do you feel like have been keys for him?
I really can't pinpoint one thing. I think he works at it every day. He's not dealing with any injuries that are uncommon to just general soreness right now. But I just believe he's one of our young guys that really puts the work in. And I've always said Cam is more than a shooter. And, we've tried to, give him the freedom to make plays and put him in positions where he can, have the ball playing in some pick and rolls or just playing in 0.5 off of, our main ball handlers. But he's a diligent worker. He gets after it on the court and in film sessions.
Just a quick follow. You mentioned last night Nader and talking about Javon. He's missed around 12 or 13 games. You got a timetable on when he could be back? Is he progressing? Is he practicing? Just a timetable on when he may be able to be back to playing again.
There's no update on Nader at this point.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
All right, next up we have Kellen Olson with Arizona Sports, followed by Gina Mizell.
Hey, Monty, after today's game, you guys will be 75% of the way into the season. You guys have been fortunate with not only health, but not needing to rest guys on back-to-backs, 3 games in 5 nights, those types of things. You guys have been able to handle that for the most part without sitting guys. I want to ask you how you've managed that so far and how you look at the last 25% of the season before the postseason, because you obviously want to keep everyone healthy and balance those types of things.
I don't think we've done anything that other teams aren't doing. We've tried to give our guys a ton of rest on off days. Our practices have been the lightest that I've ever been around because of the season, because of all the games and the travel. Our guys have been really diligent about their work in the weight room and their after practice work, pre-practice work. So it's not something I spend a lot of time thinking about on my own. I listen to the medical people that we have here, and if they have a recommendation about what we should be doing, I always listen to that. And that's about it. I think we're like all teams, just trying to manage, bodies, and we have competitive guys who like to play, and we're just trying to do the best we can, like everybody else.
All right, next up we have Gina Mizell with Suns.com, followed by Eric Reed.
Hey, Monty, consistency was kind of your word that you frequently used again last night when just talking about finishing the game strong and the way that you want to. And I know that there's human nature and we're not always going to be at our absolute best every second of every day when we're doing our job. And so I guess my question is, like, when you've slipped into those moments, maybe as a player where you're like, okay, maybe I need to get back on track, or I need to get back to playing the way we play. Like, what have you learned about how to kind of snap yourself back into that, whether it's while you were as a player, as a coach, to kind of help the guys do that too, like in the middle of a game?
All right, I'm going to interrupt the press conference here real fast because we do have the starting lineup for the Miami Heat tonight. It's Kendrick Nunn starting once again, along with Duncan Robinson, Jimmy Butler, Trevor Ariza, and Bam Adebayo. So it's going to be Kendrick Nunn, Duncan Robinson, Jimmy Butler, Trevor Ariza, and Bam Adebayo, the starting 5 for the Miami Heat for tonight's game against the Phoenix Suns. So let's continue listening to Monty Williams.
I think you generally just refer back to what works for your team. That's our reference point. We've set certain bars and standards, and all of our guys understand that. And, it'd be different if I was the only one saying it. They were saying it also.
Right.
After last night's game. I don't read anything, but I would imagine that their quotes or whatever they said was about the same as our locker room talk post game. And so that's a good thing when we're all on the same page. But it's just an effort to, continue to push for excellence, on the court and how we view the game. And at the same time, I don't want to take away the freedom of our guys who have a lot of talent, but there's just certain bars and standards that we have to live up to when we step on the floor. And that's basically what I was referring to.
Next up, we have Eric Reed, followed by Brendan Clean.
Okay, thank you. Hey, Coach, good to see you. Congratulations on what's been a great year. I'm just wondering how things change. I mean, the franchise hadn't made the playoffs in the last 10 years, and now you get off to this great start, and now it's more than just that, and now you probably are realizing, like, why not right now? So I'm wondering, now that you have emerged as a contending team, what are the areas that you're trying to focus in on to really get yourself playoff ready to make a run at trying to contend and win a championship this year?
I don't think we talk about that as much as people think. The one thing I don't want to do is put too much pressure on our young developing guys. We have second and third year guys that we count on a lot. Third year guys, I should say. And the last thing I want to do is put more pressure on their play. We work and we prepare and we go through film study and all that as if, it was a game 7 of the finals, but at the same time, I still think that we have to take it day by day, month by month, and just continue to get better. We all want to win every game, which means you want to win a championship. So we all know that. At the same time, we're still developing young players so that they can be ready for those moments.
Monty, you played for so many great coaches in your career, and then you coach with a lot of great coaches. I'm just wondering now, as you continue to emerge as a head coach, what experiences or what resonates with you now, and who do you remind yourself most of the influences that you've had?
Oh, gosh. I mean, just the last question, I learned that way from Coach Pop. His MO is just keep pounding the rock, and at some point the rock will split and it won't be that last hit. It'll be everything that went before. It's the old Jacob Reese poem. And that's pretty much my way. I learned a ton from Coach Nate McMillan about how to build a program, because that's what we had to do in Portland. And then Coach Donovan taught me so much about relationships and building a staff and connecting with people. And so I could go on and on about the people that I've worked with and been blessed to know, and I still talk to them and pick their brains on certain philosophies or how to handle the situation, because I think we're all always trying to learn and develop. I wouldn't say I'm like any of them. I wouldn't want to demean any of them in that way by comparing myself to them. So, but I've learned over the years that that's okay too. Two of us are alike, one of us isn't necessary. So I don't feel like I need to be like anybody else. I just try to be the best version of myself and pray that God would give me a chance to, not let my bad stuff show as it does on a daily basis.
Keep up the great work, Mr. Williams. We'll see you. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, Coach. Next up, we have Brendan Clean.
Hey, Monty, just a quick one for you. You've had Mikhail guard all sorts of guys since you got here, but with a guy like Jimmy, who's such a unique physical presence, is Is there a type of player you prefer Mikal to have to guard? Like, are there guys you like him against more, like whether that's a smaller guy, a bigger guy, a point guard versus a wing? How do you kind of see looking forward on the schedule? Like, okay, that's one I feel more comfortable with.
I mean, we put him on all kinds of players, you know, from Paul George to Luka to Steph. You know, Mikal has that type of versatility. I think his quickness and his length allows for him to do that, especially when guys overpower him like a Kawhi, you know. But we trust his versatility and his will to fight over screens. And we don't look – I never look at the schedule and just say, you know, that's Mikal, this, you know, that kind of thing. I think with the switching, you're going to end up on multiple guys a game anyway. But in a primary setting, which is what your question is referring to, there are certain guys that his length and quickness allow for him to have more success. The bigger, stronger guys, you know, the ones who are about, you know, 230 on up, those are the ones that naturally would give him a bit more trouble, but because they're, you know, pretty much my size. And they're quick and explosive and, you know, that kind of thing. So we love putting him on guys, though, because of his versatility. We're not afraid to put him on anybody, just because of his willingness to do it. And on the other end, you know, they have to guard him now, too. And we like, you know, the fact that he's scoring the ball more because teams can't take a break on him.
All right. Thanks for the time, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, that was Coach Monty Williams of the Phoenix Suns. Now let's listen to Ariel Atias and Gadiel Cartagena. They do this segment called the Shootaround, and you can find it on their Twitter accounts early in the morning every time the Miami Heat's going to play. So they're going to do it tomorrow morning as well before they face the Denver Nuggets. And you guys can also watch it here on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. So let's go ahead and listen to it. It's always less than 2 minutes because, of course, it has to fit there in Twitter. So let me find it here real quick, and we'll listen to what the guy said about tonight's matchup against the Phoenix Suns. Give me a second here real quick because it was earlier today. Here it is. Let's listen to what they said earlier. Here we go.
Around, Miami Heat beat the Portland Trailblazers 107-98 in one of the most satisfying wins of the season. They played great. Ariel, knee-jerk reaction to this game.
Thought the Heat's defense looked really good. Thought Trevor Ariza did a phenomenal job on Damian Lillard, and I thought Bam and Jimmy were absolutely all over the place defensively. Their impact was absurd.
Yeah, they're going to need another kind of performance like that again tonight. They're playing against the Phoenix Suns, who are, objectively speaking, one of the best teams in the league. They're currently second best in net rating. They're just a really, really good basketball team, and they play well on both ends of the floor. They're really good at shooting, highly efficient team. Chris Paul and Devin Booker leading the way. They're a really good team. But one of my keys to victory for this game is actually to speed the Suns up. They're coming off of a back-to-back. They just played against the Houston Rockets, and I mean, CP3 is not very young. I believe he is 35 years old. DeAndre Ayton does not want to run up and down the floor. That is pretty much your key to victory. Just speed them up and try to get easy buckets in transition. Try to get DeAndre Ayton moving his feet a lot, and then the paint will start to open up a little bit. But outside of that, it's going to be a really tough game. Ariel, what are your keys to victory against the Suns?
I think you make a really good point about speeding them up. I thought the Heat did a very good job of that in the last game, right? They forced 17 turnovers on the Blazers. They had 28 points off of those turnovers. So much of the same recipe. I want to see the defense flying around. I want Jimmy, Bam, Iggy, Ariza, all those guys in the passing lanes, pressure CP3, pressure whoever has the ball. They should be tired, so take advantage of that. And also, I like the way that Bam played against drop coverage in the last game against the Blazers. I want to see the same tonight. I want to see him go at DeAndre Ayton. When Ayton's sitting in the paint waiting for Bam to drive, not showing on the pick and rolls, take the jump shot. That mid-range jumper is going to be there all night for Bam.
Yeah, 53% from mid-range since the trade deadline over the last 9 games. Bam is turning it on once again, and he looks really, really good, impacting both ends of the floor, same way Jimmy Butler does. It's been fun to watch this team. 6 of the last 7, they've won. Ariel, do they get the win tonight against the Suns?
I think so. I think the Heat get a win tonight.
I really, really hope so because, I mean, tomorrow night is against the Denver Nuggets in Denver on a back-to-back. It's not the best recipe for success, but we'll see what happens. Hopefully the Heat win in Phoenix.
All right, that was a shoot around. So if you see tonight in Heat Twitter, you see Gadiel Cartagena or Ariel Atias. Let them know that you saw him here on the pregame show on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. So this is the starting lineup for tonight for the Miami Heat. We're almost done here with our pregame show, but we want to show you guys the starting 5 for the Miami Heat tonight to face the Phoenix Suns in the first game of a back-to-back. Tomorrow night they'll face the Denver Nuggets. So it's going to be Kendrick Nunn, Duncan Robinson, Jimmy Butler, Trevor Ariza, and Bam Adebayo. Kendrick Nunn, Duncan Robinson, Jimmy Butler, Trevor Ariza, and Bam Adebayo. That's the starting 5 for the Miami Heat tonight against the Phoenix Suns. So thank you very much for all of you that are sending your comments still. Go Heat. Here's a couple of flags here from the Philippines. Suns are winning. Wait, where is it going live? This game should start here in about 15 to 20 minutes. So for all of you that are looking for a place to watch it, it's not going to be broadcasted here. We're going to have the live score, of course, as we always do here on the YouTube channel, so you guys can follow the score and we can discuss what's going on during the game as we watch it. So Dane Lederer says, I don't know about this one. It's kind of a hard game, really hard. Lisandro, he's from Brazil and Cuba at the same time. Thank you for all your comments and thank you for the messages and everything. So before we go, I actually want to play some of the guys' press conferences because I think they were fun and they were very interesting right after the game was over against the Portland Trail Blazers. So let's go ahead and play a couple. Let's do Butler and then Bam, and then we'll be ready for the game. All right, so let's go and listen to what Jimmy Butler said right after they beat the Portland Trail Blazers a couple of nights ago.
All right, Jimmy, we'll get started with Anthony Chang.
Hey, Jimmy. The defense obviously led the way tonight. What did you like about the way you guys executed on that end, especially against their guards?
We did a great job shutting down Derek Jones. Down report. Go in there and lock that shit up.
You since you got here last season, you were pushing and preaching, saying that this team could be an elite defensive team, and there were moments last year where you showed that, but statistically, I think you guys finished in the middle of the pack. This year, you guys have been elite. What do you think has been the difference on the end of the court this season?
We got rid of Derek Jones Jr. Got his ass up out of here. We started guarding somebody.
It's that simple?
Yep, simple as that.
All right, thank you.
All right, next we'll go to Ira Winterman.
To come in from the non-Derek Jones Jr. perspective, you got a bunch of early deflections, seemed to really set a tone. I can't recall a time when a team had so many forced turnovers and didn't commit any of their own in the first half. Did you just sort of feel that you needed sort of that spark, that if you can get that transition spark, it could fuel you in a game like this?
I think so. That's just part of it, though. You got to make it tough on their guards. They got some really good ones. Got to get in the passing lane, make their passes difficult, contest every shot. I think we did a good job of getting our hands in the way, getting some deflections, getting some steals, getting out into the open field.
And do you find that's contagious, that if you can set an example for your teammates with those active hands, getting the deflections, things like that, do you find that it does become contagious throughout the lineup when you're on the floor?
I think so. Just showing that you're doing the little things correctly, because the way you do the little things is the way you do everything. But I feel like if you're leading by example, everybody's got to follow suit. If they see one of your best players doing it, they got to be able to do the same thing, because you can't say that I or Bam or Dre or any of those guys aren't doing it.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Next, we'll go to Brady Hawk.
Hey, Jimmy. When looking at Trevor on defense, other than his quickness and length, what do you think makes him so effective on opposing point guards on a nightly basis?
How physical he is, for one, and then how smart he is, knowing what plays are being ran, always being in the right spot, staying down on shot fakes. It's the things that people don't see that he does extremely well to put him in a position to be able to guard those guys. And it's tough because he got one of the toughest matchups every single night.
Next, we'll go to Mateo Mayorga.
Hey, Jimmy, did you circle this game on your calendar? The Blazers beat Miami on March 25th, and you didn't play that night.
No.
No. All right.
All right, with that, thank you, Jimmy. That's it.
I hate you, DJ. Record that.
All right, so that was Jimmy Butler talking about the win against the Portland Trailblazers a couple of nights ago. We have a lot of messages here. Thank you very much, Seth, Dane, Tony, Killer, and Dobie and Dane. Thank you very much for all your comments. And before we go, let's listen to Bam Adebayo, and then we'll be ready. Let's review the start lineup once again, and then we'll be out of here ready for the game that it's about to start. So let's go ahead and listen to Bam Adebayo, and we'll be almost done here.
And Bam, we'll get started once we get some hands raised here.
Has it been cold in here at all?
All right, we'll get started with Brendan Tobin.
Bam, just the impressions you guys have of your defensive performance, turning them over. They're a team that takes care of the basketball a lot, and you guys are really able to disrupt their flow on offense right out of the gate.
Just trying to really hone in on defense. I feel like one of those teams, that's how we really win. Defense, man. So we're able to get stops and run in transition and get free layups. I feel like we win by a lot.
All right, next we'll go to Anthony Chang.
Hey, Bam. I know the way you guys play defense, it's pretty much a team scheme, team effort. But can you explain the impact Jimmy has on the end of the court just with his ability not only to play passing lanes, but take out certain players as well, on the perimeter? How much pressure does he take off of you on the end of the court?
I mean, it definitely makes it easier because all me and Jimmy do is switch the whole game. So it definitely makes the scheme easy. We developed this connection where sometimes it's just reaction. Like I know what he's going to do on certain schemes when the opponent is running it. You always got to feel. So we built that connection, so it's definitely easier for both of us.
And what does it say about Kanon, where I know he's been through this before, where he's in the rotation, out of the rotation, he comes in today after not playing in the past 6 games and really doesn't miss a beat. What does it say about just his mental strength, where he's able to stay in and perform, after not playing for the past few weeks?
We got that motto: stay ready, so you got to get ready. Like I stay ready for that moment. We get in this moment again. So be out there playing the right way, and impact and winning.
Thanks, man.
Next, we'll go to Ira Winderman.
Man, what's it like trying to rebound against this team? Cantor had 30 rebounds last night, set a franchise record. You guys look like you really gang rebounded. Tyler came up big with 7 rebounds. Was that sort of what it was going to take against a team like that you'd have to sort of do it collectively because they had guys who were sort of relentless?
I feel like that's how every game should be. I don't feel like it should just be emphasis on one game. I feel like we all, every game, we try to all game rebound. So it's not a specific team.
And then just this trip, I mean, it doesn't get any easier. You have Phoenix on Tuesday, you have Denver at altitude on Wednesday. I mean, did you sort of look at like it was really important to get the first one here to try to set a tone?
I mean, anytime we go out west, we try to get the first one and then build on that. So that's kind of how our routine been. Try to get the first one and build on that.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Bam.
All right, that was Bam Adebayo a couple of nights ago again after they beat the Portland Trail Blazers. So now tonight they're going to face the Phoenix Suns, and we are ready to go watch the game. Again, we're going to have the live score here on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. If you guys want to hang out and just talk about the game as it is going, you can do it there on our live score broadcast that we're going to have live here on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. So thank you very much for coming. This is the start lineup for all of you that are just getting here. None, Robinson, Butler, Ariza, and Adebayo. None, Robinson, Butler, Ariza, and Adebayo. That's the starting 5 for the Miami Heat tonight to face the Phoenix Suns, hopefully getting revenge of what happened a couple of weeks ago here in Miami. So have a good night. Enjoy the game, and we will see you. We will do, or as well, we're going to do a post-game show. It's going to be late, and if you guys are up, might as well just keep watching the 5 Reasons YouTube channel, because we are going to have a post-up show hosted by Royal Shepherd. So see you guys there if you guys are up at that time. So Tony, thank you. Let's go Heat. We're taking this one. Let's go Stars Fox. So let's go watch the game and let's enjoy it. Have a good night and go watch some basketball. Bye-bye. Have a good one.